Hey sis, I'm about to have a conversation that could be triggering, okay? So I want to make sure you're aware of that before I go in. I'm going to talk about um, sexual trauma in terms of choice, okay? So if you have experienced sexual trauma, this may not be, you may want to be mindful of that, okay? Because my intention is to take care of you. But I gotta handle motherfuckers real quick, okay? So I just want to say that, okay? The second thing I want to say is, if you are a person who does not have compassion, please do not post, do not respond, do not put anything in the string. This is a sensitive and delicate subject for many of us, and I want to have it so that those of us who have survived sexual trauma don't feel like we're alone. Okay, so I'm putting my caveats out there first. Okay, so this is queer month. This is queer month. This is Pride month. All right, and I love being black. Everybody knows that. Okay, and I did a broadcast around honoring Black Pride and queer pride, okay? I identify as queer, okay? And so I did this talk, right? And then I got a bunch of comments about sexuality being a choice. And there was other things that were said, all right? So that's not my point, okay? But this is what I want to actually address, really for the people in the back who are not survivors of sexual trauma, okay? 1 out of every 4 black women have experienced some sort of sexual trauma in her lifetime. You add sexual trauma with racism and oppression, it creates a very, very, very specific sort of survival, and it also creates us an opportunity to ingest it, okay, and turn it against yourself, like you brought it on yourself. It's sort of like, for women worldwide, they say, well, you shouldn't have worn that skirt, or you shouldn't have flaunted your body, or you should have been more docile. It's the same principle, okay? And I'll be very clear, I'm very clear that black women are not the only women in the world who've ever experienced sexual trauma. I'm clear. I just want to talk to these other folk, I'm working on not cursing, y'all, pray for me, who say that sexuality is a choice. There are a couple of pieces I want to put in, I'm going to put them in now, and I'll do a deeper talk about this on my broadcast next week, but I want to handle folk right now. So, if sexuality is a choice, then people who are straight can choose to not be straight. And if that's the case, then I want to see, you should give it a shot and see how that goes, okay? And there's another piece that I really want to actually address. A number of people who have experienced sexual trauma, it has an impact on how we see ourselves. It has an impact on how we see others. It has an impact on trust. It's damaging. It has a real impact, okay? And for some of us who've gone through some sort of sexual trauma, we can become promiscuous, and some of us just don't trust other people who have inflicted sexual trauma on us, so we don't bother with it. So a number of people, I'm speaking from knowledge in terms of my personal clients as well as my own experience, who have had sexual trauma at the hand of someone they love. It's not a choice. You know what I'm saying? We didn't bring that on ourselves, right? I didn't bring it on myself. I didn't choose. It's like I don't smoke cigarettes. Me having a level of comfort in terms of who I let touch my body is a function of a historical wound around black girls not being protected. And if you keep saying to me that sexuality is a choice, I would like for you to actually go experience some sexual trauma and come back and say that shit to me. Please do. Go ahead and try it. I need you to go live it. Okay? If you are so clear that sexuality is a choice, then you go and be molested, be raped, be gangbanged. You go fucking do it. And you come back and tell me how much of a choice that is. And how do you recover from that? How do you recover from that in terms of your sense of self? So if you have not gone through what people, how can I say, and women, it's not only just women, men have gone through it too. And also historically, black men were raped by white men. They call it buck breaking. Go look it up. Go look it up. So because if you come to me one more again, talking about choice, when you have no idea what people have survived and how we cope and where we find love and how we create community, then you are not a child of God. You have no love for God. And especially if you say you're Christian. If you come from me, one more again, Christian, about me, being honest about my lived experience because it doesn't agree with your interpretation of the text, I'm coming for that ass raw, okay? You need to not do that because you do not know people's backgrounds and you do not know my story. You don't know me, and you don't know who I'm talking to. If you're not a black woman who's gone through some things, you're not my audience, okay? So my request is that you go away if you can't make room for people, including me, to speak our truth, because it's not for you to understand. It's not for you. It never was. Okay? It's just not for you. I'm speaking to black women. And this is the reason why I'm creating my own platform, because there's no room to be a black woman telling her truth without some kind of penalty. Okay? And I'm not tripping off of it, but I'm making it plain for all of my truth tellers. This is why I'm building my tech startup. Because we can't even talk about what we've lived through in terms of oppression, racism, sexism. We can't even talk about that without somebody bringing the Bible in, saying something that's out of context. And I'm going to tell you like this, I'm doing really good, y'all. I haven't cursed too much today, but I'm this close to it, okay? I don't need anyone coming on my platforms explaining to me how sexuality is a choice. If it's a choice, then you turn off your straightness. Turn it off. And you need to understand, a number of us have gone through sexual trauma, along with emotional trauma, and we've gone through some things, okay? But there's some people who are naturally attracted to the same gender, and it's not sexual trauma, okay? Sometimes it's DNA, hermaphrodite. You should look it up. You got to get an understanding, because you're talking from a very ignorant, uninformed, biased, racist perspective, that classist and gender, that is inappropriate because you don't know people's lived experience. And if you cannot come to me intelligently and talk to me in a way that I can actually hear your point of view, then you need to not be on my platform. There's no need. It's amazing to me how many men and white people keep wanting to express on my platform when I'm talking to black women. It fascinates me, okay, that you would be interested in correcting something you haven't experienced. If you've never been raped, if you've never been molested, if you've never gone through incest, if you've never been fondled, if you've never been penetrated, if you've never been forced to have anal sex, if you've never been forced to give head, if you've never gone through that, then shut the fuck up and get away from my platform, because you don't know me. You have no idea what it took to get to the place where I can speak. You have no idea the level of healing that has to happen in order for me to not back down from life. And I'm not doing it just for me. I'm doing it for all of us who do not have a voice or a platform. It took me 10 years to build this platform. And on this platform, I can say whatever I want to say. And if I want to talk about that black women have experienced different kinds of trauma that actually shape how we see ourselves, how we make our money, how we love black men, how we love each other. A lot of black women can't even trust black women because we've been betrayed by black women. So I got to fight a double battle to get black women to be like, okay, let's create a safe space when they're already wounded because of betrayal. There have been times when black women have been sexually assaulted and another black woman covered for the person who assaulted her. That is a betrayal. And that is in our community. So I get to address that. That's my job. Anything that keeps you from fulfilling your destiny, that is what I'm dealing with. And a lot of it has to do with wounds. And a lot of the wounds happen because of other people's violence against our bodies. So please understand that when you feel a need to come on my platform and tell me about me, be prepared for me to talk back. And I want you to be very clear. I'm a passionate human being. Mark about that. But it's in service of healing my own. And that is the only thing I'm interested in. So for all of my sisters and brothers who may have gone through some sort of sexual trauma that impacted your sense of self, your choices, how you move through this world, your heart space, I understand. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that. I'm sorry that you can't even talk about it without being contested. I apologize that you didn't have the safety to even go tell people. You couldn't even tell your mother. You couldn't tell the police because they don't believe us. They don't believe us. They always believe them or him, but they don't believe us. Or because we've been so historically sexualized, we wanted it. We like it rough. That's what they say. Because they won't be accountable that as a black body, we're unprotected. Okay? No, you can go ahead and, you can definitely share the post. You can definitely share. Go ahead, you can share this broadcast. Just put up, just let them know it may be triggering. This could be triggering. It could be. It may not be. All right? But when you share it, give them some context so they don't have to trip. And if not, I've already said at the beginning so people can choose. Okay? No, you can go ahead. It's okay. You can share it. Black women. You understand? I'm just putting voice to the things we never have a safe space to talk about. That is why I'm creating my digital platform. That's the reason why I'm creating it, because we can't even tell the truth without it being something to attack. We can't tell our truth without it being attacked or questioned or positioned as ungodly. I'm going to do a talk about that one too, about godly. I love that the Christians want to help me understand how I'm not being a good Christian, because I'm talking about real shit. That makes me a bad Christian. Okay, well, you're not my God. And I'm going to talk about gay pride. I'm going to talk about black pride. I'm going to talk about black money. I'm going to talk about whatever God tells me to talk about in service of healing my people. Okay? And so my point is, sexuality is a complicated notion, and it gets more complicated when you are unprotected and you have been violated. Okay? And there are reasons and ways to comfort oneself when someone has experienced sexual trauma. Some people just don't participate. And everybody has their right to survive whatever kind of violence they have gone through. Black men survive their violence differently than black women, whether it's sexual, physical, emotional, or financial. Okay? But it does, how can I say this, God? Help me fix it. The thing that I'm speaking about right now is choice. You can say it's a choice, but I'm going to encourage you to talk to other women in your life and find out if they've ever been sexually violated. Go find out. If you're brazen enough to talk shit, go talk to the women in your life, whether they're black or white or whatever race, and find out, have you ever been sexually traumatized? Have you ever had something bad happen to your body that you didn't want to? Go talk to them and ask them how they feel. How do they survive it? Some black women survive it by drinking. Some black women survive it by falling into the church. Some black women survive it by becoming really busy with their children. That doesn't mean they tell, because there's no safe space to say it. If you go to the church, they try to pray it off of you like you did something wrong. Really. It's never the preacher. It's never the deacon. It's always the woman. It's always the woman's fault. Always. And then no one gets on our side unless it's another woman or another man who's experienced that type of violation, that type of trauma. And it's not something that you can brush under the rug. It'll come out. Some people become cutters. Some people eat it away. Some people start putting on pounds to hide the shame and the pain of being treated like they have no voice and they have no choice. And if it's somebody that you love, if it's a family member, then the family turns against you because you airing dirty laundry. Never mind it's your daddy or your brother or your uncle or your cousin. It's never them. It's always her. And you say it's a choice. You say it's a choice. Okay. Well, like I said, go talk to some people that you know. Really talk, honestly, and I'm not being awful, I'm being honest. Go talk to women in your life that you love. Before you post here, go talk to women you love and ask them, have you ever experienced being sexually hurt without your consent? It doesn't even have to be rape. It could simply be fondling. But it wasn't her choice. Some women get raped in their marriages because their husbands think they have a right to her body. And it's not their fucking right. They don't have a right to her body. But because the law is set up a certain way and men are socialized to believe that they are the lead, they actually take it to the nth degree. And historically, white men could beat their women to death. Really, it's not just black women, y'all. I'm talking about black women because that's my charge. But this could be any woman. Native Americans are raped more than any other group, twice as much as every group combined, because they have no protection. No one's protecting us. And you want to make it our fault that we find comfort in kindness? You don't know enough to talk to me about anything. If you haven't lived on the streets, you can't just sit down. Sit down. Sit down. And don't bring my God into this. You don't have to agree with me and my God. You can go deal with your God. But my God doesn't judge me. And my God does not judge people. My God loves me just the way that I am. And my God never had me apologize for cursing or telling the truth. So I'm not going to start now. I will speak up and I will talk about the things that you do not want black women to talk about because it's not respectable. Not a problem, then leave. At some point you'll get sick of me. Prayerfully you will, okay? And in the meantime, I'm building my tech startup so that black women of all kinds of black women, not just sophisticated black or cis black or straight black. I'm talking trans black, queer black, bi black, non-binary black, pan black. Every kind of black woman needs a safe space to speak her truth without going through this shit. I'm just talking about pride. I'm talking about black pride and queer pride. I'm proud to be who I am. And you feel a need to express to me that black and queer cannot coexist? Do you know how many black queer men are in the fucking church? What sense does that make? That you're so in denial about the diversity within the race. Within the race. I'm not even talking about white people right now. I am talking about black people policing black people because they don't agree. Y'all, you can't say what you want to say, but you will never be effective. And if you do not have enough regard to get an understanding before you want to pop off, then you're asking for an ass whipping. You really are. You're asking for being blocked, being told off. And I have trained my followers to not respond to ugly. Be clear. I've trained them, because that to me goes against my religion. I don't get to do that. God said, no, I don't get to flex that way. There are other ways to flex, okay? But the thing that I want you to understand is If you haven't done the research to find out about hermaphrodites, to find out about DNA, to find out about X and Y chromosomes, how some genders have more X and some have Y, even though they present a certain way. If you haven't done that, if you haven't talked to or know people in your life that you have compassion for who have been sexually assaulted in any level, until you actually contend with what they're going through in terms of how they see themselves, what they will allow, who they feel comfortable with, who they feel safe with, until you do that, you have no idea why a person would choose one gender over you. You have no idea. So please understand that what I'm pointing to is a protection of a freedom to express. People have a right to sort through and figure out and create who they are. And some of us, because of other people's violence, we didn't get the opportunity to do it without interference. We didn't do it. I have had so many experiences with men and women because I was unprotected. I will never know what my life would have been like if I were protected. I don't know if I would have married a woman if I had been protected. I don't know. I really don't. And not because I'm confused, but because my body got trained a certain way. That's not a choice. That's not a choice. And to say that it's a choice, like you smoking cigarettes, is fucking insulting. It's insulting. Because you have no idea what it took to get well. To not drink myself under a table. Just a lot of stuff. Okay? So I'm going to pause here. And my prayer for those sisters and brothers who may have gone through some sort of sexual trauma, I want you to know that I understand. I understand the conflation. And I know if you love God, that makes it even more conflated. I know, okay? But I want you to be very clear. You're not alone. You're not the only one. There are a bunch of us out here, but there's no safe space to talk about it. But I want you to know that you did nothing wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't bring it on yourself. You didn't ask for it. They're wrong. They are wrong. You are not wrong. I don't give a fuck if you were walking down the street butt ball naked. He does not have the right to put his hands on you. Okay? He doesn't. She don't have the right to position you or corner you. She doesn't. That's not okay. So you did nothing wrong. You did nothing wrong. And God is not mad at you. God is not blaming you. God is not judging you. God would never do that. God would never judge you. That is not how God works. So no matter what flesh says, no matter what the enemy says, they're liars. They're misguided. They may even be well-intentioned. But unless they have gone through it, they can't say nothing to you about it, boo. They can't talk to you about it. So don't listen to their words with authority because they don't have enough grounding. They have book knowledge. You have lived experience. And that trumps book knowledge every time. Every time it trumps book knowledge. When you live through something, there's nothing somebody can tell you about you. So don't listen to their words with any kind of authority, even if it's an authority, even if it's your mom, even if it's your family. And I know you want them to love you. I know you want them to include you. I know you want them to be proud of you, but they're not. They can't, because then they would have to deal with all the shit they ignored. They would have to deal with their hypocrisy. And they're too weak to deal with them. So instead, they scapegoat on you. They scapegoat on us. Because historically, we have been a scapegoat as Black women, as Black girls. Okay? So I just want to make sure you know that if you are queer, bi, straight, trans, poly, asexual, any flavor, that is your right as a human being, as a spirit of God, as an American, as a woman. That's your choice. It is your body, your choice. They don't get to say. They don't get to police. They are not your God. Do not endow them with that power. And know that if they say ugly things, that's a reflection of them, sis. That's not a reflection of you. Okay? So please do not give your power away because you want to be accepted. Find people who accept you. Find people who love you just the way you are. Bruises and all. Okay? Go get that group. And I don't care if it's 1 or 50. Okay? I don't care if it's 1 or 1,000. But stop trying to make them love you. They can't. They don't have the capacity to. They're too shallow to love the depth of you. They're not worthy of the depth of you. So don't even try that with them. You may have to look around to find people who are open-minded, who have good hearts, and they may not be black. They may not be. I'm not being awful, I'm being honest. They may not be. I want you to know, they may not be, okay? And they may not be in the church. It's okay. There are other more progressive churches that make room for your process. Your relationship with God is private, boo. That's between you and God. Whatever goes on between, that's you and God. They got nothing to do with any other believer. So you don't even have to listen to it. When they want to come and convert you, they're not God. This is a real personal, private relationship with the Lord. So you don't have to listen to them like they don't know. They know more because they can spit Bible verses. Okay? I can too. Rest assured. And I talk much shit. And my God is a fucking gangster. He can take their God. Because my God is not a punk ass. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. You do not have to subscribe to their beliefs. You have to subscribe to your own belief. And you have to create that. You have to walk that. You have to determine for your own self how you're going to be peaceful in this world. And nobody can understand what you've gone through except people who've gone through something similar. And even that is the closest we can get to it. Okay? So my prayer for you, my prayer for us is that we heal. And we heal in a way that has us be whole, even in the face of racism, oppression, sexism, classism, and all the isms that come against us. I thank God for pride. I thank God for Black history. And I'm not giving either one of them up. I'm not giving up my God, and I'm not giving up my queer. I'm not giving up shit. And they can deal with it, or they can go away. And if they stay, they probably get educated. Okay? If they stay, they probably get educated. Okay? So, be at peace. All right? I'm building, as soon as I can, as soon as I get the platform built, no, you can go ahead and share it. It's okay. You go ahead and share it. Let the world deal with it. Go ahead and share, because no one's talking about this. No one is talking about it, and they feel like they have a right to come on and say it's a choice, and they don't even know what's going on. There's like they don't. They're like, ooh, they looking through the window. Ah, that's bad. You know what? I promise you, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna go there, God, all the way, but I'm gonna say this. He without sin cast the first stone. Okay, so I'm not gonna carry it heavy, but I do want you to understand that you're not bad and you're not alone. Okay, I've said my piece. Know that you're loved. And for all my brothers who are listening, thank you for sending. Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. All right. For all my brothers, thank you. A lot of times, Black women, we don't have the love of Black men who have the compassion. You know what I'm saying? So I thank God that I am blessed with amazing Black men who follow me, who build for me, who promote me, who market for me, who love me and who protect me. Okay? And I want you to know that I notice. All right? So I just want to make sure I speak that to all my men. And for all my allies, I know you're here. I love you. You can share this video. And I know this is applicable to all women, but I'm speaking directly to my tribe. But every woman who's ever been violated sexually, they could benefit from this. So please go ahead and share it. Because if we don't get to talk about it without getting questioned, without being villainized, as if our bodies, they have a right to them and they don't. Okay? So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. This is Dr. Vides, your hot mess millionaire. I love you, sis. I love you very, very much. And I'm building a safe space for you, okay? I'm building a safe space for us. Just give me a minute, okay? Give me a minute. Just give me the summer, all right? And stay with me. Walk with me. And as soon as I can, I'll have it so that we can actually heal without interruption. You see what I'm saying? And you can't heal if people keep questioning you and saying you're lying. You have to defend. So in the meantime, I'll defend for you. You know what I'm saying? In the meantime, I'll hold the space, and we will move this, okay? But I just did not want it to go by, keep people talking about choice when they don't understand sexual trauma. And that's all I'm trying to say, okay? All right, Jesus, I've said my piece. I didn't curse too bad. I actually think I did pretty good, okay? Know that you're loved. Thank you for everyone for hearing my word, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.